It turns out that underdog mentality that Lady Vols' Ruby Whitehorn discussed early in the week ahead of their matchup with Middle Tennessee, it seemed to pay off as they get their get-back win over MTSU after losing for the first time a year ago. And it actually came with dominance in the three-point range that helped lead the Lady Vols to an 85-79 victory. That wasn't really the case early in this game, though. In this in-state rivalry, the team missed its first 5 shots of the game, and honestly, it took until Tennessee's third substitution to see them settle in a little bit more and then get their first points of the game. And it came from point guard Samara Spencer, who absolutely set the tone for this team, especially in the first half of the game. The team's first points, her first bucket, a triple from the top of the arc. Now, Samara Spencer, getting her offense set early in games is absolutely what this team needs. It's what Coach Kim Caldwell expects of her point guard. So in these last 2 games now, to see Samara Spencer settle in early and be that spark plug for the offense will pay dividends as the season goes forward. But when she's not clicking, sometimes we see that impact other areas of the game. But if we keep it on offense, after that 3-pointer by Samara Spencer, another scoring drought followed for the Lady Vols, and it really plagued them throughout the whole game. Their next 6 shots, they were 1 of 5. By the first media timeout, which came about 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, they were in a near 2.5 minute scoring drought. But what happens after that, you could see the Lady Vols really settle in on offense. They start to pass the ball a lot more, and we see their efficiency, especially from deep, increases greatly when they're able to be a little bit more patient on offense. And I think patience on offense means passing the ball a bit more so that you're finding the best shot, not just a good shot. You're not just taking the ball and shooting, that there's some dribbling and passing that happens. So Z Spearman, she gets a foul. She goes to the free throw line. She misses both of her shots, but despite her going 0 of 2 from the line there in that moment, she somehow was able to get the rebound herself. She sets the offense, which they need to do, and they manage to swing it around to Spencer, who knocks down yet another triple for the team. She absolutely had the hot hand in the final minutes of the opening quarter. But what was nice about her getting that 3-pointer there was on the other end, she drew a charge, falling to the ground. She's pumping her arm. She's like, yeah. And it was just great she obviously said it more emphatically than I did just there. But it was great to see that enthusiasm there, because on the very next play, she drops another triple to give the Lady Vols its first lead of the game. She would have 13 points in just the first quarter alone. It was a perfect 4-4 from deep there in the end. She also would surpass her season high of 12 points in just the first quarter alone. So absolutely having that efficiency from the perimeter was a game changer for this game. Now going into halftime, their final 4 shots were all straight triples to lead 41-28. On top of that, their final 3 tries had no misses, and they were all triples as well. So the difference in this game and why MTSU was able to hang around late in this game was because while Tennessee was having success on offense, they were not, living up to what they were scouting and practicing all week long on defense. So many times throughout this game, MTSU just had an open lane and they exposed it time and time again in the post and just took these line drive layups essentially, and the Lady Vols never really closed that gap, and it took a long time for them to be able to again, close the gap, cut them off there. Coach Kim Caldwell is like, we practiced that for 3 days. I don't know why that was an issue early in the game. Tess Darby says she wouldn't really say it was because they were lazy. Just maybe there was miscommunication on who was supposed to be performing in what role. And while there might have been confusion on, all right, we practiced this, why aren't we executing it? What was really promising, Coach Kim Caldwell said, was their ability to adjust a little quicker than how they had adjusted in the previous 2 games, where we heard the players talk about sometimes it just takes us too long to even realize we're making a certain mistake and then make the appropriate adjustment. Their ability to make quicker adjustments in this game really kept MTSU out of reach for most of the game. Multiple times Tennessee was able to get 17-point leads, and despite MTSU being able to cut into those leads, it almost seemed that the Lady Vols always had an answer on the other end. And when they get going, that makes this team incredibly dangerous. We see this 3-point range. They were 4 of 12 in the first quarter. Not a great percentage by any means, and a lot of that came from just quick shooting, limited passing, not setting your offense. You compare that to the second half. In the third quarter, they were 2 of 3 from deep. The fourth quarter, they were 6 of 9 from 3. They made 7 of their last 9 field goal attempts to close the game against MTSU. Tess Darby had a great finish to her game as well. Absolutely took over in the final minutes of the game with 4 straight triples. The team, highlighted that after the game, and Tess Darby was like, I think it just goes back to what they say, shooters shoot, and just keeping the confidence and knowing that her teammates are going to find her. She says gives her all the confidence she needs to shoot the ball. It was funny seeing Kanaya Boyd on the sideline, like shaking her hand, like as if her hand's hot, because Tess Darby absolutely had the hot hand in that final moments of the game. That effort also led to them surpassing once again the program record in 3-point attempts. They are now just one shy of 3-pointers made, which is 16. They had 15 against MTSU, and Samara Spencer kind of joked after the game. She's like, in the system that we run, we will probably set and break both of those records multiple times this season as we get more in sync with each other and have better understandings of what our roles are. So she's like, I'm not surprised that we've already done that just this early into the season. Moving forward, of course, it's that patience on offense will continue to be something that continues to ring true for this team. They didn't apply the press and their press defense very much in this game. There were a couple of times that they did, and it really impacted MTSU. There was a moment, I believe it was the second quarter, it was Tess Darby and Kanaya Boyd were able to corner MTSU Blakely, and she was up against her sideline on her team's bench, and you just look over at the coach. He has to call a timeout because there's literally nowhere to go when they have them cornered, of course, up against the sideline. So I would like to see maybe them get back to applying the press earlier as the offense is setting, taking it in from the inbounds pass. I think that will allow them to have more confidence, because you find so many times, especially with the way Talasia Cooper plays, that their defense really does feed into their offense. I think that will help with faster starts if they're able to do that, and being able to close those gaps and those line drives to the rack, I think will really help this team as well. But it's 3-0. Coach Kim Caldwell says survive and advance. They live to survive another day, and I think that's exactly how you should take this win after starting the year 3-0, and you turn your attention to some really good competition coming down the pike here in the next couple of weeks. But for now, that was a really good win for the Lady Vols. We'll be back later on Wednesday to talk all things Vol basketball as they take on Montana later tonight. You can catch up on all the latest content on our YouTube page at Full Disclosure Pro, and then our website, fulldisclosurepro.com. Talk to you guys later.